All right. Well, there you have it on your screen. 1-1 so far. Warlock versus Warrior coming up next. And if this is Handlock versus Warrior,
I'm pretty sure it is. Magicamy is very fond of handlock.
we've seen so much Handlock versus Warrior
Yes, we have.
over the past
Month.
4 weeks.
It seems to be a matchup that people clutch to post GVG because they got a lot of cards that supported them.
Yeah.
Primarily through heals or life gain.
Yeah.
Through the Shield Maiden as well as the Antique Heal Bot.
They were refined before GVG, and GVG just added cards that enhanced the refinement. Whereas some decks are still struggling to find the cards that mesh well, find the decks that are the most optimal. So I agree. I think that they're popular now, but we might see them falling off. And as much as I hate to admit it, and as much as I've been reluctant to admit it, I think that Warrior might be starting its decline.
Well, hold off on that opinion until we start seeing this match at least. We've got
it's
Trump.
a sinking ship already. It's a sinking ship.
Hold on until
Okay.
hold on until we see this game. Basically, that means you're voting for Magicamy. I still think Trump's in a really good spot here. I like Warrior against Handlock.
Yeah.
As much as I do agree with some of the sentiments that you put out.
Yep. We've seen 2 Warlock versus Warriors today, Handlock versus Warriors, and 1 went in the Warlock's favor, 1 went in the Warriors' favor. So this is also a tiebreaker for the Warrior-Warlock battle as well. And not the greatest of starting hands for Amy, though.
It's definitely not ideal until you pick up that 4 mana, or turn 4 play, that is. But for the most part, it's not as if Trump's sitting with the best hand ever either. If any threat comes out, how does he deal with it?
Yeah, that Mountain Giant, too. Looming. Well, that's an answer.
So he does have a way to deal with it. How greedy do you get with the Acolyte?
I think you throw it out.
It is definitely greedy, though.
It's greedy, but
Your opponent needs to do something anyways because they can't.
Oh, that's correct.
They can't hold on and tap. I think it's just a Dark Bomb.
You're delaying threats by... Well, no, you're not, actually, because you would have had to play something this turn anyway.
Right,
I guess you're not tapping.
It was a greedy play, but it didn't pay off.
Yeah.
It's fine, too, because Trump still has another way to activate execute with his Death Bite. It's just sad because, well, there was a lot of potential in that Acolyte. He could have drawn 2 cards at least while being able to activate the execute.
That's true. It's very true.
Oh man, the fear of playing against the value. But good thing he does have that Cold Taskmaster to activate the execute, though. That's really important.
Equipping the Despite and not attacking at that stage when you have execute seems a little bit not inefficient. I don't think inefficient is the right word, but maybe it is. Because if you're going to equip the Despite anyway, why are you equipping it if
The mana. It costs mana. You're gonna be trying to play Shield Maiden throughout the next couple turns.
I guess there's not really too much of a fear of Harrison Jones.
Right.
It would have been the turn to use it, but
Well, that card's very useful to have a turn ago or 2.
but if you're going to equip the Despite and not attack with it, if a Sludge Belcher came out, you wouldn't be able to deal with it cleanly.
Well,
you wouldn't be able to use it to proc and execute.
even so, you give up, like, you use the first half of Death Spite with the Cool Taskmaster, and you still have the second Death Spite. It's just that you don't waste the damage. It's purely a value standpoint. I can understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people might have made that attack, though, to have the second charge up.
Yeah. I can say that probably in most scenarios I would have. Depends how much you value your Cruel Taskmaster over how much you value the swing from your Despite.
Sure.
Because the damage is sort of inconsequential against Handlock.
Looks like a Defender of Argus can stretch this slightly away from Trump's grasps. He's going to need a little bit more to get rid of the Ancient Watcher easily. Everything else feels very weak. Just because, I don't know, I think Farseer doesn't fill out the curve. It doesn't really even heal you efficiently. It's just there's so much more you can do with that card as opposed to just simply putting out a 3/3 minion.
It feels pretty good here to be able to play a pretty clean Dr. Boom.
Well, it still gets a little messy because of Shadow Flame. So even if he plays Dr. Boom, you just attack the Defender of Argus into Dr. Boom and Shadow Flame.
Well, I was thinking he would throw the Shield Maiden into the...
Oh, the Ancient Watcher?
Yeah.
Well, I think you want to pick up the free value, right?
Yeah, that's
like
true.
You pick up a free card by killing off that 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
At least in our minds, you do. It's very tempting to Shadow Flame here. Shadow Flame, and you know what? No, you can't do that. You have to Shadow Flame that. I was thinking the Farseer, maybe healing, but you have to do this. Tap for the sequencing, very strong. So that way you can get one card deeper and just pass it back to your opponent after you Shadow Flame.
Really strong play. And not to worry about the health total, actually happy about taking more damage, I'd say, at this point. Well, no, maybe not happy, because you're never really happy, unless you're really trying to force out those Molten Giants.
You
but
can say it. It's okay to feel, TJ. You can feel whatever you want.
2 damage, though.
4 damage total.
Yeah, well, you know what I meant, man. I feel angry about you just assuming all these assumptions.
It's okay, let it all out, let it all out. Get it out before the land finals.
I feel like our relationship's becoming rocky. We're disagreeing on Control Warrior plays. That's the first step.
You know what this situation feels like?
What does it feel like? Control Warrior.
Situation feels a lot like Control Warrior.
It does. It really does. Great observation.
Yeah. How we're lining up removal for all of our arguments.
Yep.
We're just counterpointing each other to the finish. Half the people have no clue what the heck we're talking about. But TJ had this thing for a long time about how every deck in Hearthstone ever reminded him of Control Warrior. He would always make comparisons to it to the point where it just got ridiculous.
That's an exaggeration. Not every deck.
I might have embellished the details a little bit, but it was like almost every deck, like 9 out of 10 decks. It was like, oh yeah, definitely. That Jeeves in your deck reminds me of Control Warrior. Like when you draw cards off your Acolyte. I'm like, what? Come on, man.
There's actually a lot of people that agreed with me that Darquanix's Warlock actually played a lot like Control Warrior.
Get out of here. Get out.
Only 90s kids would get it.
Lock it up. Only 90s kids will get that. Well, no, the Lotheb and the Farseer were pretty much the only initiative threats, or sorry, and like questions that Magicamy could put out here. Still hesitant on the Jiraxis because you might just die. How does Trump respond here? I mean, it isn't wrong to just take a slower approach. I think Alexstrasza is a little on the quicker side because you might evoke Molten Giants, but you do have Execute and another Deathbite. I still think Sludge Belcher is okay.
Yeah, Alexstrasza though, you don't really have too much follow-up to it. Well, I mean, you have follow-up in the ways
to end the game.
Yeah.
Because, well, now you don't want to attack. Oh, you do.
Whoa!
Whoa! I was not expecting that.
Trump, that's so bold. Such an unpredictable player.
He is. Told you.
Well, I'd say this is a pretty strong play here with, well, actually, no.
Well, I mean, now you Molten Giant Siphon Soul.
Molten Giant Siphon Soul.
Dark Bomb even, so. it's not as strong as of a play as it would be if she didn't have the Molten Giants. I'm actually very surprised that Trump went so aggressive. I was not anticipating that at all. I guess I'm used to people playing it very slow.
Used to Zalay.
I am used to Zalay.
Yeah.
And you know what Zalay rhymes with?
Not many things.
Relay. As in I
Cool.
as in I relayed that information perfectly.
Nice.
Well, now I don't know if there's a way to. Can you play around the combo? Yeah, you can. If you anti-kill Bob, you'll be at 21 health. Feels uncomfortable, but you're also on the verge of dying. Jiraxis does not feel that strong, but it might be one of those things where you're in such a bad position, you might have to take that risk.
Yeah.
The good thing about Jiraxis is you did keep the coin, so you can Jiraxis, coin, and Inferno.
Infernal.
Yeah.
One of the strongest plays in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're trying to think of something.
With Jiraxis involved, it's
Yep.
one of the strongest. You can definitely slide in some Molten Giants in there as well.
It's such a subjective thing.
It's like one of the best plays in the game. I'm like, there used to be this thing called Leroy and Shadow Step that would end games all the time.
Yeah.
So, Antikyo bot here to just try to save the day. It's a very mediocre play, but that's the only thing you can do here. There's no power plays available to handlock, especially with such limited cards. And here's another thing to consider too. If you're a Jiraxis player, you need to have a good Jiraxis hand. Otherwise, you're just Infernoing every turn and playing whatever's on the top.
Yeah. Because you're giving up your card draw mechanic.
This is why I was saying in the very beginning, I think Trump's actually in a pretty decent spot. Like, just having the Warrior line up against Handlock. It's very hard for Amy to be able to try and stabilize efficiently unless she gets an early lead on the board.
Yeah. And so, in a way, putting on the pressure early and going aggressive with the Alexstrasza, even if you don't have the answers to be able to finish the game after the Alexstrasza, your opponent doesn't know that, so they have to continuously play around it. So it puts the handlock in a situation where they have to worry about being killed by Grommash combo every turn, and at the same time, they have to make sure they're dealing with the big threats on the board.
I mean, Amy's doing her best to play around the combo, and finally the combo is here, so she's barely alive. Grommash with the Death Spite is, well, right now it's 10 damage because of that slime, but it won't be for much longer. Trump is basically going in for the kill here, and there's no way Magicamy can stop it, at least right now on paper.
Prison Trump has built his prison shank, and he's lurking up to Magicammy's cell.
Let's just stop. Let's stop the analogy right
For
there.
the kill!
Please.
Come on,
Let's
man.
stop the analogy right there. Good lord. And
I guess that wouldn't even be okay if Trump was playing against a male player either, so.
let's just stop the analogy right here.
Okay.
And to answer the question before the cast, I'm not going to read your novel.
It's really exciting. It's got a soundtrack.
Well, I think Magicamy is almost just guaranteed dead in the next 2 turns unless something dramatic happens and, you know, Trump pretends to misplay and then actually does end up misplaying in the process of it. Like, Ragnaros here is, like, perfectly fine to play here. She already dropped the Molten Giant and used Sylvanas even, so now Sylvanas can't really do some Shadow Flame plays.
Trump's trying to find a way to calculate a way to a lethal opportunity, but there is not one.
Yeah, it looks like he's one off.
Yeah, he can leave just a Zombie Chow on the board with a Rag and a 3 health.
Oh,
And get it.
Oh wait, I was about to say he can if he brawls and then attacks everything in the face, but he can't even because there's slime.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like thinking about, is there any way to lethal this turn? I don't think so.
No.
So if there isn't, I still think Ragnaros is very strong here. Also, another heads-up play from Magicamy to silence the Baron, get him to not only protect it, but also to stop it from dying.
Yep. She would have been dead no matter what this turn.
It's been a while since I've seen Trump play, but he's also a notorious roper.
He is. He's a notorious roper.
Tends to take his time for sure. Oh, and it hits the face. Magicamy. Well, that's interesting.
But in a way, it's not.
No, I think she's still alive.
In her mind.
No, if you hit Jiraxis and then hit the Baron Geddon and then coin out Inferno, Ragnaros can miss.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
So, actually, there's still a way for her to live.
Well, I mean, again, in her mind. Oh, no, that's true, because even if you attack Grommash into the Zombie Chow, you'll still have an Infernal out on the board, so...
Right. So
either way, though, still in a really rough position, because even if Rag hits the Infernal in that situation...
Well, then you BGH. Ah!
doesn't even hesitate. And Magicamy, she doesn't even react to that.
No. But you
Stoic.
can definitely see her soul dying inside.
Yeah.
Oh!
Wow.
Oh, man. Do it. Do it, Trump. Do it! Yes! Killer! I mean, not literally.
And this is
That's gonna be game number 3.
Magicamy newly picked up by Tempo Storm in her first tournament debut after joining the team. In one of her matches, Rodan yells out, "Killer, yeah!"
Oh, come on. It was fun. It was 2 Ragnaroses on the field.
Yeah.
With Harrison Jones to wrap up the game. The game was very far along decided to be leaning towards Trump. It was like a 99% chance to win. But, you know, just at least adding some flair. I like it.